My name is John Smith. I met my wife Kay, who's 4 years older than me, at a sports gym. I work as an instructor. Kay came for a trial lesson. During these lessons, we first measure the client's body stats, then show them around the gym, and teach them how to use the machines. The instructor for trial lessons changes weekly. Appointments can be made online. Kay had booked for 10 a.m. I could tell she was the one as soon as I saw her wandering around.
I'm Kay, here for the trial lesson.
Hi, I'm John. Thank you for booking a trial lesson.
That was our first conversation. Honestly, I was surprised at how slim Kay was when I first saw her. I wondered why she even came to the gym. Later, she told me she wanted to build some muscle. After the trial lesson, she decided to join the gym. Over time, as she came more often, Kay discreetly gave me her contact information. It was the first time a woman had approached me, so I thought it was a prank. But we started talking, went on dates, and eventually got married. Kay wanted a big wedding, so we had it in Hawaii. Our gym friends even flew out to join us. I met Kay's best friend, Emily, and her old college friend, Mike, for the first time there. Our marriage was fulfilling. When I was single, I used to eat store-bought meals alone. But after marriage, I'd come home to a lit house, a delicious meal, and a warm bath waiting for me. And, of course, Kay would greet me with a smile. However, our happiness was short-lived. One big reason was our inability to have children, something we both desired. We both liked children. We thought it would happen quickly. But even after 2-3 years, there was no sign. By the 4th year, we decided to get tested. Finding a cause might have brought some closure. But unfortunately, there was nothing wrong with either of us. It was just a matter of timing. We were both healthy, but we couldn't conceive. It made us think maybe it was about compatibility or fate. My feelings must have shown because I accidentally made Kay cry one night. A news program was featuring children.
They're so adorable.
I blurted out innocently. Realizing my mistake, I quickly changed the channel.
Why are you changing it?
I thought it might bother you.
It's you who's bothered.
Wait, calm down.
I am calm. You're the one treating me like I'm fragile.
She said, breaking into tears.
Kay.
After that, we stopped talking about children altogether when children are shown on TV. We no longer brought up the topic. The tension was suffocating. So, I took up fishing, a hobby suggested by my gym buddies. Unfortunately, the friend who recommended it had a completely different schedule. So I couldn't learn from him, and that's when Kay introduced me to Mike. According to Kay, he is an expert fisherman who even owns a boat. Being my wife's best friend, I was pretty nervous at first.
Hello, nice to meet you. Well, not for the first time, but you know.
It's the first time we're actually having a conversation. I'm really happy to have another fishing buddy.
Mike was incredibly kind and did a great job easing my nerves. His fishing skills were as impressive as Kay had said. He was very easygoing and enjoyable to be with. Spending my days off fishing became an escape from the cooling relationship with Kay. Since I was spending every weekend fishing, I started to worry about Kay, so I suggested a weekend trip for the 3 of us. Mike booked a stay at a lodge in Asheville.
I'm sorry for intruding on your couple's trip.
Don't be silly. You're not intruding.
Thanks for booking that famous lodge.
Well, you said Kay wanted to go there.
You remembered.
I hadn't paid much attention at the time. But thinking back, there might have been something more to their conversation.
Let's drop off our bags at the lodge and go night fishing.
Night fishing. That sounds great. I've never done it before.
I knew Mr. Smith was curious about it.
Thank you.
Even after all these weeks, aren't the two of you still calling each other Mr.?
Mike and I looked at each other.
She might be right. Maybe it's time we drop the formalities today.
Sounds good.
If anyone uses Mr., they owe me $10.
$10 is too much.
I'm in. It's a deal. $10 it is.
I was surprised to see a side of Kay I never saw at home, lively and youthful in her conversation. Night fishing was a blast. The fish's eyes gleamed blue in the water, creating a magical scene. The technique was different from daytime fishing, moving the rod up and down along the pier wall. Even Kay, a beginner, could do it easily and caught the most fish, thanks to beginner's luck. We had a late dinner in our room. We enjoyed a feast of seafood. It was a delightful meal for both our eyes and stomach. After eating, we took a bath. Mike, feeling tired, opted for the shower in our room. Did he feel awkward intruding on our couple's time? Since we were all close, we decided to sleep in the same room, setting up our bed side by side.
It feels like we're back in college.
It sure does.
I went to an all-boys school.
That must have been boring.
Hey, don't insult my youth. It was fun in its own way.
I kinda envy the all-boys experience.
It was just smelly and miserable.
We all laughed. I wished these fun times could last forever. It felt like a friendship between men and women that I had never experienced in my youth. All thanks to Mike. I'm not great with alcohol, so I fell asleep at some point. I woke up around 4 a.m. It was still dark outside. I have a terrible hangover headache, probably from the leftover alcohol. It was fun, but I probably got carried away. Then, in the darkness, I heard voices. I thought of asking Kay to bring me some water, if she was awake.
It's hard to break up, but if it's for happiness, it's worth it.
Break up.
Squinting in the darkness, I could faintly make out a shocking scene. My face turned pale. Kay and Mike were holding hands and gazing into each other's eyes.
It's us, Mike. Don't worry about anything.
Thanks, Kay. I trust you. I love you.
Hearing their conversation, I hesitantly turned on the light. As the room brightened, they were indeed holding hands. But they quickly let go, surprised by my awakening.
What's going on?
I blurted out.
You were up?
What is this, holding hands? I heard you two talking. What is it about breaking up, about loving each other?
John, you're misunderstanding.
Mike, stay out of this. I'm talking to Kay.
You're misunderstanding. This isn't what it looks like.
Are you kidding me? This is a joke.
Just calm down.
How can I calm down?
Let me explain.
Mike, just stay quiet.
But
Exactly, that's the problem. Ever since we met as a trio, I felt something more than friendship in your conversations. Were you two together all along?
We're just friends, nothing more.
Who would believe that after seeing this? I feel betrayed, Mike. I thought we had become friends, but was it just because you had a thing with Kay?
that's not true. There's really nothing going on.
So, you're both denying it. Have you been enjoying fooling me? Coming on this trip must have been convenient.
Enough already. We're telling you there's nothing between us.
Ha! Now you're getting defensive. Is this why we couldn't have kids? Because you were with him.
What are you talking about?
Were you making sure we couldn't conceive because you were with him?
That's horrible.
Horrible. That's my line. Get out. Leave me right now.
Fine. Let's go, Mike.
Kay said.
But,
Just go, both of you.
They left the room. I had never been so angry. My feelings of betrayal exploded uncontrollably. I couldn't stop it. Kay and Mike, having an affair. Why hadn't I suspected it from the beginning? Mike is of the opposite sex. Does a best friend of the opposite sex exist? But strangely, I had trusted Mike. That's why it hurt even more. I had always wanted children. Alone in the room, I cried.
How stupid of me.
After about an hour alone, I decided to leave the lodge in Asheville. It was chilly in the early morning. The cold wind seemed to pierce my heart. Mike had already paid for the lodge.
I'll get every penny of alimony.
I took the train back home. As I started to calm down and plan to talk things over with Kay, I found she had left with all her belongings. Reluctantly, I called Mike.
It's me.
John, I'm really sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to cause a misunderstanding.
I'll talk to you later about this, Mike. Right now, I can't find Kay. Do you know where she is?
No, I haven't seen her since then.
Okay, thanks.
Wait,
What?
maybe she's at Emily's.
Emily?
Yes.
I'll try there.
I didn't want to talk more with Mike, so I hung up abruptly. I called Emily. Sure enough, Kay was at her place. I went over to talk to Kay. She continued to deny everything. Emily excused herself because it was a marital problem. She left us to talk alone.
I lost my temper earlier. I'm sorry for overreacting. But you're the one who betrayed me. I want the truth. How long have you and Mike been involved?
No matter how many times you ask, Mike and I are just friends.
Kay, there's a limit to lying. Tell me the truth.
There's nothing between me and Mike, really.
Then her phone rang. It was Mike.
Answer it.
Not now.
If there's nothing to hide, talk in front of me.
Fine.
She snapped, answering the call.
Hello? Yes, I'm okay. I'll explain everything. Please don't do that. Remember what happened last time? Don't worry about me. I'll call you back later.
Her concern for Mike infuriated me again.
What did Mike say?
I'm sorry. You were right.
So you admit it?
Yes.
Since when?
A long time ago.
This is absurd.
I'm sorry.
I always wanted kids, 2 kids. But I never said anything to avoid hurting you.
I told her.
That hurt me even more.
She replied.
So, an affair was your answer. This betrayal is how it ends.
Kay said nothing. I felt a sense of resignation towards my wife.
Let's get a divorce.
I'll pay back the money by working.
Mike could ask his parents to cover with no problem. But I want nothing to do with you or him ever again. I won't ask for alimony.
I declared, leaving the room. The next day, we went to the courthouse to file for divorce. It's been 3 years since the divorce. I haven't seen Kay since. I'm still working at the gym. I haven't gone fishing since then either. I want to, but it brings back painful memories.
I guess fishing isn't the problem. Maybe it's time to start again.
I thought to myself. That's when I saw a familiar face at the gym. It was Mike.
John, you have a visitor.
It's been a while.
What brings you here now?
Sorry for showing up unannounced. If you have time, maybe we could have a cup of coffee nearby.
Sure.
We went to a nearby diner.
I'll have the chicken sandwich plate.
Same for me.
Right away.
I really needed to talk to you today about something.
What is it?
I wanted to apologize for that day. I had no idea you two had divorced.
You must have known.
No, I really didn't. You still doubt me. I've been overseas for training to take over my family's business.
The hotel management.
Yes, where to start? That day, I was consulting Kay about a marriage proposal I received. My parents wanted me to marry a daughter of a financier, but I didn't want to get married.
Because of your relationship with Kay.
No, hear me out. It's not that I didn't want to get married. I couldn't marry a woman. I might look like a man, but I've always felt like a woman inside.
So, you're...
Yes, exactly. I've felt this way since I can remember. I've been struggling with the conflict between my body and my feelings. My parents noticed I was different, but my father is very traditional and still hasn't accepted it. My mother just follows what he says. No one, not even my parents, understood me. Kay was the only one who did. That day, I was torn between agreeing to the arranged marriage or refusing it and going abroad. If I refused, I might be disowned by my parents. Going abroad meant I would have no one on my side. It was a lonely thought, being away from Kay.
That's why you said it would be lonely to part ways.
I've always hidden my gender dysphoria for the sake of my family. I've been suppressing my true feelings, wearing clothes I didn't want to wear, speaking words I didn't want to say. I had it all through school life, but I couldn't bear it when it came to romantic feelings. I wrote a letter to a boy I liked and put it in his locker. He replied, calling me to the back of the school. I was excited, but when I got there, several boys were waiting. They left and dressed me to prove I was different and took pictures. Even the boy I liked joined in, calling me disgusting.
That's terrible.
Nobody understood me. When I finally mustered the courage, this was the result. Somehow, I ended up on the rooftop, thinking of ending my life. But then, Kay stopped me. She and I had known each other since kindergarten, but we never really talked much. I was shy and quiet. She was beautiful, smart, everyone's idol. She took my hand, led me to the classroom, and read the letter out loud in front of the boy I liked, who had a crush on her. The boy's cheeks turned bright red and shouted at her to stop reading. She finished, tore up the letter.
It doesn't matter what you look like. He is a million times better than someone with a rotten core. I like Mike so much more than you.
Then she took my hand and we walked away.
She sounds like a hero.
To me, she was. We started talking every day after that. Kay sort of knew about my gender dysphoria all along. Thanks to her, the bullies stopped bothering me, and school became enjoyable.
All that happened to you.
Even after graduation, I couldn't come out because of my parents, so I've been living with this secret. It's been really tough. I couldn't stand up to my parents, and occasionally, I sought advice from Kay. That day, she also shared about her marriage and fertility issues with me. I wanted to apologize after you heard us talking, but I had to refuse the marriage proposal that day. If I missed a chance, I would have been under my parents' control again.
So, it was like that. You two were just friends. It was all my misunderstanding.
Of course, Kay and I are of opposite sex. Anyone would doubt it. You weren't wrong. But Kay never talked about me. She believed you would understand and trust her.
I see.
I only found out the truth recently. When I returned to my hometown, I met Kay's parents and learned about the divorce and that she had a child.
What?
You didn't know.
I was speechless.
Given my past suicidal thoughts, Kay never spoke about my gender dysphoria to anyone, probably not even to you. I think she's still waiting for you, hoping you'd return. After meeting her parents, I left without seeing Kay. I came back to apologize to you and tell you the whole story.
Thank you for sharing such a painful story. I appreciate it.
It's my fault. Please go see her soon.
Right. I wanted to go see Kay immediately. I drove to her parents' house. Her parents were surprised to see me. Please let me talk to your daughter. Kay came out of the house.
Let's talk outside.
We walked to a nearby park. All the while, I pondered how to apologize to Kay. I hadn't trusted her,
harbored insecurities in our marriage. And I failed to understand her struggles. Maybe if I had listened more, she would have told me about Mike.
You came because Mike told you, didn't you?
Yes.
Mom and Dad must have told him everything, even though I kept silent. You heard about Mike?
Yes, he told me.
I'm sure you were surprised.
I was, but more than that, I realized I owed you an apology.
People believe what they see. Anyone might have doubted me and Mike. But I always thought, deep down, you would trust me. But you didn't. I couldn't stand the assumptions about our childlessness too.
I'm truly sorry.
Looking back, I realize I was also at fault. I didn't talk about Mike and just acted like we were just girlfriends. I couldn't share about Mike. He thinks he saved me, but it was the other way around. I was feeling the same way he did at that time.
What?
My parents' business was failing and we had debts. They were constantly fighting. My dad became erratic and I was lonely. That's when I saved Mike. He was so grateful and always wanted to thank me. His help got my dad's business back on track. I couldn't talk to anyone about my feelings, but Mike was different. Even after my parents remarried, he listened to my complicated feelings. So, I wanted to support him in return. That's why I never told you. I realized too late that I couldn't go back. I thought you'd be happier with someone who could give you children. And then, ironically, I found out I was pregnant after the divorce. I've been raising our child alone. Recently, I started to hope that maybe you'd come back for us, even though it seemed impossible.
I've come back. I exclaimed loudly.
Yes.
I'm sorry I made you wait. Kay's mother appeared with a child who ran towards us. Halfway through, the child let go and ran by himself.
Tyler, do you know who this is?
Dad?
I was stunned.
I told him his dad was working far away, believing you'd come back someday.
I see. Tyler, I'm sorry I made you wait.
Dad, you're home.
I'm home. I hugged my son, wiping away tears. Kay cried too. Thank you for waiting. I'm not perfect, but let's be a family again. I'll never hurt you again. And I will protect you too with my life. Kay cried and nodded. I took Tyler's hand and we walked home together. Is 3 years a long or short time? I am ready to make up for lost time with abundant love. I will never let go this hand again. Emily and I had an arranged marriage set up by our parents. Her father owned several retail stores and a small publishing company, and my parents' company was one of his clients. Apparently, my father provided considerable support in sales channels and publishing expertise. Now, my parents' company is a major sponsor of her father's publishing house. Although it was a marriage of convenience, I fell in love with Emily at first sight when I met her. Our first meeting was like a formal introduction arranged by our parents. They had reserved a high-end, traditional Italian restaurant for us. After our parents briefly introduced us, we were left alone. The waiter brought the food. Caprese salad and seafood platter with sparkling wine as an aperitif.
Thank you.
After that initial exchange, we quietly enjoyed our meal. I felt Emily was too beautiful for me. I wondered how happy I would be if she became my wife. I don't remember much of the meal. I must have been very nervous. We had beef steak and truffle pasta, followed by assorted fruit platter as the last course, as the owner informed us. We were then served a tea. It tasted incredibly delicious. It tastes very good.
Could this be Darjeeling tea?
You're well informed.
I like tea and often order it.
You seem to know a lot.
I have a friend runs a tea shop.
Really?
What other teas would you recommend?
Well, Assam tea is a good choice.
Assam? What does it taste like?
Of course, it's delicious straight, but it's also tasty with milk or lemon added.
She became very animated as we started talking about tea.
Oh, I've been talking quite a bit.
Not at all, I've learned a lot. I'll try it too.
Yes, sure.
With that, our first meal together came to an end. After that, I invited her to a tea shop in New York. That place offered not just Indian teas like Darjeeling and Assam, but also Chinese tea. I had learned quite a bit about tea before our next meeting. They even had the Darjeeling and Assam teas she had mentioned before. Emily really liked the tea shop, and from then on, we always stopped there after movies or dates. I proposed to her in this tea shop, keeping in mind her preference for simplicity. It was our 5th date. I was nervous, but she said yes. We got married at the age of 25. Now, 5 years passed since then. We turned 30. We have built a reasonably harmonious relationship. Today is our wedding anniversary. I had been planning a surprise for quite a while. I told her I would be late from work and secretly rented out that special tea shop, even arranging for special teas to be brought in. So when I got home, I planned to take her there. I was finalizing the arrangements with the shop.
Your wife will be delighted.
I hope so.
I left the shop and headed home. As I approached our house, I saw a car parked outside. In it, Emily was with a man I didn't know. He looked quite a bit older than me. Emily was crying. The man gently embraced her. It looked like a scene from a drama series. I was shocked. Emily got out of the car, saw the man off, and returned home. I was too upset to go home right away. I stopped at a nearby coffee shop for a few minutes. I grabbed a coffee, just stared outside, not really tasting.
Who is that man? He must be close to Emily. Why on our anniversary? She was crying. Maybe she wants to leave me.
I felt enveloped by a dark and suffocating fog of confusion and pain. After about 30 minutes, I went home. I was torn but decided to confront her. She denied having an affair.
That man is nothing. Trust me. Just an acquaintance.
Then who is he?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you that.
What do you mean? I can't accept that.
She refused to tell me anything about the man. I questioned her repeatedly, but she insisted there was no affair and convinced me to trust her. However, I couldn't shake off the scene that I had witnessed. Then one day, I found an unfamiliar diary in Emily's vanity drawer. I knew I shouldn't look, but after the recent incident, I thought it might reveal the truth. Knowing it could end our relationship, I still decided to read it.
I can't bear it anymore. I want to break up. I want to rush to you right now. Because, in my belly, there is a child I have with you.
I was shocked by the contents of the diary and dropped it. Just then, Emily returned from shopping. I hurriedly put the diary back where it was.
You're home early today. I had lunch with my mother because I had something to discuss with her.
Oh, I see.
You don't look well. Is something wrong?
No, I'm fine.
Actually, I have something to tell you.
I tensed up, thinking she was going to ask for a divorce.
What is it?
I'm pregnant.
I thought so.
We've been trying for 5 years. I had given up hope, but now we're finally going to have a child.
Is it really mine?
What?
I had read the diary and knew the truth. I accused her harshly.
What do you mean by that?
Ask yourself. It's that man's child, isn't it?
That man was nothing.
Then who is he? Explain.
I've already told you I can't say.
That's not good enough for me.
This child is yours.
I can't believe it. Get rid of it, if it's someone else's.
How can you say that? That's too cruel.
She responded and then left the house. I had always harbored insecurities about our arranged marriage, wondering if Emily truly loved me. These fears were compounded when I witnessed her with another man. And the diary I found in her room spoke of her feelings for another, her desire for a divorce, and her pregnancy. Who could I trust? Was anyone so foolish? Later, still believing she was lying, I demanded compensation for her affair. Not wanting to involve the other man, she agreed to the compensation and asked for a divorce. 10 years have passed since our divorce. I haven't been in contact with her since then. I learned from my parents that her father's publishing company went bankrupt. My parents, angry that I was cheated on and divorced, bringing shame to our family and company, had refused to lend them money. To top it off, her parents also divorced. Was money the only thing holding relationships together? Maybe that was true for mine as well. Meanwhile, I came home to find a letter addressed to me. The sender was a familiar name. It was Emily's mother.
What could this be about now?
I wondered as I entered my house and sat down in the living room, feeling a bit tense as I opened it.
The handwriting is so similar to Emily's. Just like mother and daughter.
I thought, recalling the diary and feeling sick.
Dear John, are you well? I apologize for reaching out suddenly. I have something important to discuss with you.
The contents were beyond my wildest imagination. The man I suspected Emily of having an affair with was, in fact, her mother's lover. Emily's father was the type who thought money could justify his actions, treating women as disposable and his wife like a housemaid. Their marriage had been broken even before Emily was born. Her mother had even contemplated suicide. The man her mother loved had been a support, filling her loneliness, and had played with Emily since her birth. They had planned to divorce and be together. There was a secret that Emily's mother kept from her lover, her husband, and even Emily. In truth, Emily was the child of her mother's affair. Emily found the diary her mother thought she had discarded and learned the truth. She couldn't bring herself to tell her mother. Emily always believed that one day she would live with her real father. However, her biological father had massive debts from being swindled. Emily's mother knew the debts would burden her daughter. It could affect Emily's future, like her education. By enduring her current marriage, she could provide happiness for Emily. Her mother chose financial stability over her lover for her daughter's sake. But her sacrifice was apparent to young Emily. She couldn't bear the reality of her parents' loveless marriage, knowing the truth. Emily began to despise her father during her teenage years and acted out in rebellion. To spite her wealthy father, she started working in a nightclub. Inadvertently reuniting with her biological father, who worked there as the club owner. Without telling her mother, Emily offered to help her biological father repay his debts, hoping her parents could be together again someday. The man refused her help and tried to persuade her to quit the nightclub job. Meanwhile, Emily's mother found out about her job and made her quit, but she continued to keep in touch with her biological father, hoping he could rescue her mother. They met occasionally even after she got married, seeking advice from him as a father figure. When she was suspected of having an affair, she couldn't reveal the truth about her biological father, especially since her mother had once contemplated suicide. She hoped I would understand why she had to keep it a secret.
I never believed Emily could have an affair. After all, she was truly happy when she found out she was pregnant with John's child. But she admitted to the affair, and she won't tell me anything about the other man. John was furious, especially with his business to think about, and even told her to abort the baby. Emily left home to have the child. As a mother, I was worried about her health and the baby, so I secretly supported her financially for living expenses and childbirth costs. My husband is very strict about money, but I think he knew I was helping our daughter. I believe he cared about his daughter and grandchild in his own way. Emily managed to get by with a bare minimum, but then she suddenly fell ill. When I rushed to the hospital, I was told she had breast cancer and didn't have long to live. And then her former lover, the one she had an affair with, appeared. I was shocked. I asked him why he was there. He told me everything, how he met Emily again after breaking up with me and had been seeing her. I confronted Emily, and everything came together. The reason for her divorce from John, it was all because of me.
The letter contained all the facts of the past and was filled with apologies from Emily's mother. I was overwhelmed and my mind went blank. Emily hadn't had an affair. The child was mine. Why couldn't I believe her? She has cancer. A prognosis of limited time. The letter expressed her wish for me to see her. I didn't know how I could face her. But I knew I'd regret it if I didn't go. I decided to go. Waiting at the hospital reception, Emily's mother came to greet me.
John, it's been a long time. Thank you for coming today. And I'm truly sorry for everything that's happened because of me.
Thank you for the letter. I understand everything now. And I regret how I treated Emily. I wish I had trusted her more.
Please tell her that.
She said. She led me to the room, and I entered alone. Emily was asleep from the anesthesia. I sat down beside her bed. She looked so frail, her appearance drastically changed from before, with her hair thin due to the treatment. I couldn't hold back my tears. I wanted to punish myself for how much I had hurt her with my words and actions.
Emily. I'm sorry.
John.
Emily, are you awake?
Why are you here?
Your mom told me everything.
I see.
She made a pained expression.
Don't strain yourself to talk.
I'm fine, really. I'm still strong.
She replied with a smile. I couldn't hold back my tears again.
John.
Emily. I heard everything from your mom. It was all a misunderstanding. I'm truly sorry, Emily. I was the worst for not believing in you.
You're not to blame. It was me. I should have talked to you. But I didn't know how to do it. I wanted to protect both my mother and my real father. If I had told you, you probably would have helped with my father's debt repayment. But I didn't want to involve you. And if our situation came to light, leading to my mother's divorce, it might have revealed the affair and we could have been sued for compensation. I thought you would believe me, but when you doubted the child, I was shocked. I always thought you married me because our parents arranged it and you had no other choice. So, when you doubted me, I just thought, of course, you never loved me.
That's a misunderstanding. I did love you.
I'm glad to hear that. It's the first time I've really understood your feelings.
Me too. It might be too late, but we both let our anxieties get the better of us.
It seems so.
She said with coughs.
Are you okay?
Sorry, but could you give me just a spoonful of that tea?
Okay, sure.
I poured some tea from a pot into a paper cup and brought it to her lips with a spoon.
It's good.
Do you want more?
Just one more spoonful. I can't drink too much because of the inflammation. It might cause bleeding.
Hearing the word bleeding, I was at a loss for words. I gave her another spoonful. The first time we met, we were sipping tea together, and now her last moments were with just a sip of tea. Then a young girl, about elementary school age, entered the room.
Mom, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
That's good. Who's this man?
I froze at the appearance of my daughter.
Listen carefully, Lucy. This is your father.
My father? But I thought he was dead.
Sorry, Lucy. I've been lying to you all this time so you wouldn't feel sad. It was wrong of me.
Lying is bad, right?
Yes, lying is bad. But he came to see us.
Father?
Yes, Lucy, I'm sorry for not being there. Your mother did nothing wrong. It was all my fault. Please don't blame her.
Okay. Grandma said if you and Mom make up, we can all live together.
Emily and I teared up at Lucy's words.
Lucy, your mom will get better. Let's help her together. Would you like to live with me?
Are you sure?
Of course. She's my daughter. I want to make up for lost time.
Thank you. That gives me peace of mind.
Don't be too relieved. Worry about getting better and coming back soon.
Yes.
Emily smiled and then drifted back to sleep. A few days later, Emily passed away. I began to live with my daughter Lucy, filling the gap of 10 years. Emily's mother and her real father finally got married. The debt was paid off with persuasion from my parents. I wanted to fulfill the future Emily had wished for. I took Lucy to the tea shop full of our memories. The owner remembered me and mourned with us. Looking at the menu, I asked Lucy what to drink. She chose Assam tea, just like mother and daughter.
What do you mean, Dad?
Nothing, it's just.
We sipped our tea, and I remembered the last pot of tea Emily had. How I wished I could have given her a hot and fresh, favorite tea in her last moments. I quietly sniffled, trying to hide my tears from my daughter.